can we prosper despite uncertainty? That's the topic that we're going to address today on Flourish-Meant. I'm your host, Tina Yeager, and today I have a very esteemed guest with me. Her name is Linda Hansen, and she is the founder and president of Prosperity 101 LLC. She's also author of Prosperity 101 Job Security Through Business Prosperity, the essential guide to understanding how policy affects your paycheck. And she's the creator of Break Room Economics, which is an online course. She's also creator and host of the popular Prosperity 101 podcast, where she regularly interviews a variety of guests regarding public policy, economics, politics, faith, and business. Welcome, Linda. I am so delighted to share your wisdom and breadth of experience on Flourish-Meant today.
Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to join you, and hello to your audience.
Linda, let's talk about why business is such a passion for you. I know that you also come at this from a perspective of faith. Why should business be something that all of us are focusing on right now in these times?
Well, business drives the economy. So many people have the erroneous idea that government drives the economy, but the government has nothing until we give it to them first. And the only way we can create that wealth is through healthy businesses within our society. So business actually drives the economy. But then as Christians, as Christian business leaders too, if we think of the scriptural example that Jesus gave, where did he do most of his public speaking? It was in the marketplace. So the marketplace is very, very important. So just like Christians need to speak up in churches and in their families, they need to speak up in the marketplace, in the political realm, in the halls of government. It doesn't mean we have to be preaching to everyone, but it means that the principles that are very, very important for success and freedom and prosperity, human flourishing and freedom, that those are what we promote. And when we promote that, businesses are healthier, the economy is healthier, families are healthier. It's just a great flow.
Speaking of the health of the economy and our businesses and jobs, things are shaking around us right now. The economy's changing, everything's in uproar. We feel like we're facing a lot of uncertainty, and people are tempted to panic when they face uncertainty. How would you advise us to respond to these times?
Well, first of all, I'd say turn to the Lord. He tells us 365 times in scripture not to fear. So, fear doesn't come from God. And one of the things that the enemies of freedom, use is fear tactics to get people to be afraid and to divide us and fear each other and to be distracted. So do not fear. Do not fear. Ask for wisdom. He tells us in his word to ask for wisdom and he'll provide it. When we seek the Lord, he will provide that wisdom. And so when it comes to surviving, economically, if you're talking about the brass tacks of surviving under, the new tariffs or different tax laws and things, when things are a little uncomfortable at first, I tell people, ride it out. It's going to be a little bit like if you have a cancerous tumor and all of a sudden the symptoms are becoming very, very obvious of this cancerous tumor. Then you have to decide how to treat it, and you treat it, which is typically miserable to do so. And you have to go through surgery or chemotherapy or radiation, whatever it is that you go through likely is not pleasant. And then there's a recovery time, but then at the end, you hopefully will have very good health and vitality and things. And I look at what's happening with some of these policies now. There may be a few hiccups. Some people may experience a time of unsettling or whatever, but wait it out, trust God, trust the process, because these policies have been proven to work. They have been proven to work. And we have to trust that and know that in time, the policies that are being promoted now will really truly create an economic boom for America.
For those whose jobs are being affected by these policy changes, Is there a need to pivot, and how do we know when that is the case?
Well, there's millions of people whose jobs are being affected and have been affected over the last several years, of course. And, I think they can know sometimes it's black and white that they have no choice but to pivot. And others, pray and seek the Lord about the direction, what's best for you or for your family. I recently had a family member that is pivoting away from a government job by choice, taking the opportunity to leave that position. But, if we're really truly looking to change the size and scope of government, then, that is actually great because you can't have the government so bloated that the private sector can't fund it. So all of these jobs, though, this will create a big boom. So I tell people just keep watching for what is going to be the opportunity. What industries are going to benefit the most from the changes. We can see some big companies coming back into the US with their manufacturing. The tariff issue alone is bringing a lot of manufacturing back into the US. That brings a host of jobs, not just at that manufacturing facility or that company, but to the surrounding community. You have the coffee shops, you have the dry cleaners, you have the, hair salons, you have the daycares, you have everything that goes with supporting a large business. So, just keep looking for opportunity, keep seeking the Lord. I don't know if anybody's ever read that book, Who Moved My Cheese? It's just a great small book about being able to pivot and to understand that, oh, your source of sustenance may not be where it always is. And if you just keep waiting for it to be there, you will likely die. So you need to be able to look at new opportunities. For some people, it may be, trying something new. And that's okay. I think the older we get, the more we realize we don't have to do the same thing all the time. There's all things that we can learn. And for people who are afraid, don't fear, just seek out all the opportunities, and then I'd recommend they seek the Lord about his wisdom for their own life.
So, with regard to the things that are changing, what are some of the policies that we need to be aware of that could be affecting our jobs and our personal family livelihood?
Well, I would say the tariffs, definitely that could be affecting certain jobs. So everybody will know their industry. I think the executive orders and the things about no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, those are really great benefits for Americans that definitely affects your bottom line. But then we want to look at what companies have been doing to get rid of the diversity, equity, and inclusion and all these racist programs within their companies, but also within our government institutions. This is going to be changing for people because the money flow of that is not happening as much. But that brings about amazing opportunity because now people aren't being hired based on their skin tone or their claimed gender. They are being hired for their merit. And that brings amazing opportunity to people. So, as businesses turn back to a more merit based hiring and even training process, as the government does so, there's more opportunities there. Those are a few things. The tax basis, we can also look at changes in the immigration laws right now. I mean, we've had this flood at the open border for the last 4 years that has really impacted our economy and these sanctuary cities, and it's brought crime and economic devastation to many. And as we change that whole thing and bring security to our border and we stop funding a lot of these illegal programs, that will create a greater prosperity for the citizens in each community. And so all of these things play into how every local, state, and the national economy work together to support the people.
Linda, your company and your book and your podcast have a ton of resources and information to offer people. How can audience members connect with that so they can learn more?
Well, I'd love to hear from your audience and I'd love to work with anyone. My website is prosperity101.com. So prosperity101.com. And I do have the book. I have a poster pack there. I also have an online course that I'd love to work with any businesses to license to them. I'll come speak anywhere. I There's a lot of different policies that affect businesses, and it's important for employers to help their employees know about these things, even just the basics, so they know how to approach how to think about those things. It's never telling someone who to vote for or anything, but just giving them basic information. So I'd love to hear from your viewers and help them and help educate their employees.
I hope that all of you listening were a little bit more informed and equipped so that you can be more certain despite the uncertain times about your prosperity and how God has plans and purpose for your life. And of course, I also hope that you will come back for the next episode of Flourishment.